Hello and welcome to Cinema Span. We are covering the films of 2007. Today, we have the first episode of Black Cinema Month.
Yep.
Joining me is Jay.
Hello, everybody.
You can find Jay. He's got a YouTube channel called The Loft, where he talks video games, sometimes with guests such as me.
Yep. Sometimes, I'll catch him in the loft before I get home, and he's like, "Hey, man, I've been waiting for you," even though I know it's a damn ass lie. But, we work together consistently. Yes, we have a second YouTube channel, The Loft. Make sure you check it out if you're interested in games or any commentary that would make you laugh, And I also have a YouTube channel, Nico Mac. That's just my personal channel. I post my thoughts or talk shit about shit I think I know about, if that makes sense.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you can find all that in the episode description as always. Today, our first film is Are We Done Yet? Directed by Steve Carr.
Beautiful.
Second film is Norbit, which we will
not so beautiful.
get to as well.
Yeah.
But Are We Done Yet is a sequel to Are We There Yet? Also a comedy film starring Ice Cube. Although Are We There Yet is an original script, Are We Done Yet is actually based off of a 40s comedy called Mr. Blandings Builds His Dream House. And it was also remade in the 80s as The Money Pit with Tom Hanks, which probably more people actually know of.
That one sounds more familiar.
Yeah.
Right.
But this is just such a bizarre type of film. Essentially what's going on here is, Ice Cube is moving out to the suburbs with his family and just bought a bad house that needs renovations on literally everything that you could imagine.
I feel like it pays very good homage to Are We There Yet? Because actually I watched it again today. And it reminds me a lot of his Lincoln Navigator that he has and he loves so much, but by the midway of the film, it's completely fucking destroyed and dumped.
Well, and with Are We There Yet? It's just a big road trip, right? He's taking the kids along in this,
Vancouver, yeah.
But that Lincoln, man, I always love trying to touch on the things that are very 2007.
And that is it.
It is, because today that would be a Cadillac Escalade. But they're essentially the same car, right? But they just had the different status, symbols at the time.
Right, yeah. And how it kind of swapped up and superseded.
Yeah.
But I always, speaking back on Are We Done Yet? That's what it reminded me why it's okay for movies to be campy and tropey.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's I won't.
Are We There Yet? You mean the first one or
no, both
of them? Okay, yeah.
Because it's just that the trope evolves to a different dilemma, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I brought up the Navigators, the metaphorical pre-evolution to Ice Cube getting himself into another situation. And it's
definitely.
Oh shit, what is Ice Cube gonna do when he moves into the suburbs? But not only the suburbs, the house is a disaster.
Exactly.
And it's you're okay, people go through this. This is normal. But because of the tropes in play, it's elevated to a sense where you're I could actually watch this movie all the way through.
Well, and this is something that I don't think Are We Done Yet is as good as Are We There Yet?
Yeah, I agree.
But I do like when a comedy movie will try to build a world on its own absurdism, right? Mm-hmm. Instead of just like Norbit feels like it's trying to be a normal movie and then just what the hell is going on all around it. There are absurd things, but the actual cause and effect isn't absurd. And in here, everything is played like a cartoon. Right. Are We Done Yet? Literally starts with a cartoon intro of Ice Cube just getting thrown around by the title credits. In every kind of scenario, which is again, reminding you, this is the tone of what it is. Don't take it too seriously. Right. Although it is I think Blades of Glory is a little more successful with this type of thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Where they just take their absurdism and really run.
Yeah, but I think that's what's really and I had to get super meta in my mind about this. I may be reading too much into it. I really don't think I am, but I feel what Are We Done Yet didn't do in comparison of Blades of Glory and stuff like that is that Are We Done Yet is very white humor. You know what I'm saying?
Well, so and very broad too, right?
Yeah. So that's why I think it's very. It's not it's super important. It's not revolutionary or anything, but it is very interesting because traditionally that type of humor is for those specified or almost segregated audiences.
Definitely.
Because if you were to ask, a black person, favorite movie of all time in like a comedic sense, someone's definitely going to say Friday.
Absolutely.
But if you ask somebody else, and I exist on both spectrums, because it's like, shit, you might ask me and I might say Step Brothers is honestly fucking iconic as shit. But then on another day, I'd be like, bro, damn, Friday the dialogue is really fucking good. But they're like separated just by that thin line of, I don't want to say like racial segregation, but just the lanes in which they were in at the time.
And I do think, it's worth like mentioning, like, there's 8 decent comedy films in this year that like, we're there to cover, and they all have white leads, and like, it's like, these are kind of the 2 only like big comedic like films with black leads I found. And you have to imagine how much harder it was for them to even get these projects going. And, did they have more scrutiny from the studio executives who were just worried about it not being broad enough and saying, okay, I know that's a good joke, but cut it. Let's just play something a little safer.
Right, yeah, something that would play ball in like a family audience.
Yeah, especially because this is still the era where if you didn't make all your money on the box office, you can make your money on DVD sales. And like, essentially like Are We Done Yet was already like, they did the math. They were like, Are We There Yet is selling so well on Blu-ray. If we just make another movie and double pack them together, like we'll sell even more copies of like both of these films.
Right, yeah. So kind of alleviate that concern of box office sales and such.
Yeah.
Right.
But it still does feel very sanitized and commercial, which is a bit upsetting. You would hope that safety net would let them take bigger risks, but instead they're just trying to reach as many people as they can still through it.
Yeah, and with more attention comes more scrutiny, especially with movies. Of course, back then, I don't think it was the case like that. Like critics weren't looking to make sure that the black people in the movie weren't tropey enough, or they were too tropey, so to speak. Then movies, at least in my opinion, maybe it's because I was a fucking kid and I wasn't very critical on films in that way, but I think it wasn't really something that was necessarily thought of,
Yeah. Yeah, so Are We Done Yet also starts with like one of my favorite cliches. I've already pointed this out in Knocked Up as well, but it starts with an alarm clock going off. And Ice Cube's got to hit the clock,
Yep.
Just on that grind. We get Ice Cube's like opening narration. He's basically revealed that the sports memorabilia store that he ran in the first movie, he has now sold his part of, and he's trying to start a sports magazine. But he's having classic writer's block. It's so funny because like the cover of his magazine is Michael Jordan, and he's like, and it's not even that like he doesn't know Michael Jordan. He doesn't know how to even get to him, and then he doesn't even know what kind of questions he wants to ask either. Like he's just like sitting there like questions for MJ, and he's like
completely stun locked. Couldn't even think about it. Yeah.
But then you also get just like kind of these classic family tropes of the girl's wearing something that he's like, I don't want you to wear that. And oh man, the sun's coming in and asking for Pop-Tarts. And he's just like, Jesus, I'm trying to work here. Don't got enough space.
The classic family whirlwind effect type deal.
Absolutely. Right. It's a type of film where it's like the moment it starts, you just know what's going to happen.
Exactly. And that's kind of where I was thinking that they hit those campy notes very well. It's tastefully done. At least for as tasteful as it can be done for those movies,
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, I think for part of it, you need like some emotional grounding, right? You need something to tie you to the reality of any world, no matter how absurd it is. This movie like starts off like decent enough, but it feels like for the middle stretch, it's just like scenario after scenario of Ice Cube getting fucked up.
Boom. 2x4 fucking gag. Boom. Rape gag. Oh shit, it's a raccoon now. Fuck, black people don't fuck with the animals. You better watch out.
Which is insane because it's big physical comedy too. Yeah. Which is stuff that I love. Yeah. But it just feels like it's there, and it feels like you've seen even these same gags done in other films to other people, right? And there's it just doesn't like, I do think Ice Cube is good in this lane, but I don't think like it doesn't need to be Ice Cube in this movie.
Yeah, it could be literally anyone.
Whereas like in like at least his like John Singleton films, like he is like killer when he comes in like as an actor, and like there's plenty of movies where he is a good utility
I mean,
player.
I thought that's what I thought it was pretty interesting about Ice Cube was that like to reference, he's been acting longer than a lot of people think.
Right.
And I say that in regards to like his music. So Ice Cube was like never actually like gang affiliated. He grew up in those areas, and he hopped on tracks like rapping pretty much for other people. Like he would rap other people's experiences, but he would package them better through his delivery. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a lot of people would be like, well, Ice Cube's not, what gang is he in? It doesn't really matter because he is able to package and deliver the struggle better than the person that's actually,
especially when like, it seemed like, especially in the 90s, like with rap, like it was all about authenticity too. So like to be able to like hold the physical space and like have that type of power too, like it is really underrated.
Yeah.
And something that a lot of, rappers are looking for too.
And that's what I think is really interesting with him, because I think it's aided him in his like acting, on-screen acting, like 100%.
Well, because like this whole movie is like him trying to act tough as things are
going very wrong,
right, and making him look like a fool, right? He's trying to keep his composure while it's going on,
right?
But like most of it's like it's his mean face. It's like, like
it's the thing he showed the kid in the first episode, and that's kind of first movie. Excuse me. That was the emotional grounding provided in the first one. Was him being like, oh, you know why I act like this? I'm a player. My dad's left too. And then the two kids turn, they're like, really? And that was their like bonding moment. Although it's like surface level, they're like, all right, Ice Cube has a dad, he's gone. That's why he acts like this. We're gonna go into the psychology of that within 5 minutes and just go. We'll just go with it.
They literally accept him as their dad. Like, a literal light switch flips. I mean, it is like, it's a sad scene because the whole trip is about getting to New York. Their parents are divorced, the kids, but Ice Cube's basically the boyfriend, and he's like, I'll take you to New York. The dad's house is on the way though, and the kids really want to see their dad.
Yeah, and they end up seeing it through the window.
Right, their dad,
So that's
known to us but not known to them, didn't want to come pick them up, and so they have to learn the hard way that their dad has moved on and has a new family, which like is absolutely tough. And like that is like maybe one of the few moments that's played emotionally, because even Ice Cube comes up behind them and doesn't crack a joke, doesn't say like I fucking knew it or something, like he has that same warmth because he understands the situation they're in, and at least play like that straight,
right, which is why I feel like with Are We Done Yet? I won't comment on the writer's job, but maybe they didn't have like the actual workspace to be like, all right, so how are we gonna capitalize off what we had last time, but without the like extraneous factors that we can piggyback off.
This is exactly like what I was thinking about this film, because essentially with Are We There Yet? Most of these characters have completed their character arcs within the film, right? Ice Cube has, ditched his life as a bachelor and learned to, respect kids when he used to just hate every kid he saw, right? Yeah. The kids, like they were doing Home Alone style traps on like all the boyfriends at the start of the movie. And like now here they are hanging out with a dude that, they're still playing their traps and playing gags on him, but they are like, oh, he plays back and like he has fun with us. And, instead of these other boyfriends that are trying to avoid the kids entirely, Ice Cube's down on their level. And so it's what's really great is that you believe the family unit that they build by the end of this.
Exactly. Yeah.
But then that's where you have to start this next film. And so it's also like, okay, we don't have that same push and pull dynamic of conflict here. So how are we going to introduce conflict? And really, I think the main piece of conflict in this movie, I mean, it is the house a bit, but it's Chuck. He's this guy who has 5 different hats on. He's the guy who he sells them the house. And then later he, is the contractor. He's also like the city's inspector. Like he just does everything around here. Right, but it kind of doesn't work because every time he just walks up to Ice Cube and is like, guess it's going to be another 5K, man. and that really just feels like the only thing that happens here. Yeah. And it's like, whether it's the floorboards, the ceiling, or like the drywall, like whatever, it's like, it just feels like they're doing the same type of thing,
They expected him to be like the comic relief for like Ice Cube. All right. And then they're like, this is going to be perfect. Ice Cube replies, "Shit, man, another 5K." Type beat, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You're just at the fourth one, you're like, fuck, I can't take it anymore, man.
Yep. And they even like their montages of all of this, but you know, I think that's just where the movie starts to drag on a bit, you know?
Mm-hmm, right.
But yeah, you know, they get out over to this house. There's some like nod backs to like the first movie where like Kevin spills his juice in the car again, like he did. But yeah, I mean, essentially, oh yeah, sorry. One other thing I wanted to get to was that Suzanne, which is Ice Cube's wife in this movie.
Nia Long.
Unfortunately, like she's a great actress.
Amazing,
been in a million things, but her character is so underserviced because in the first film she isn't really a character, and in this one, like she has to now be the mom in the family, but she doesn't really have a role other than to be like, you should listen to Chuck more, or Chuck's on our side.
Yeah, I was about to say she really fucked with Chuck. You know,
yeah,
she's all, but I feel like that's because she was like the semi-foil in the first one. And in this one,
you're right, because they're always calling, like she's always calling them and being like, what are you up to? Are you doing something? Exactly. Like, are you being safe? Are you coming in? And they're always in the craziest scenario, jumping off of a train, or like whatever.
He's on horseback. She wants to talk to them, but they're in a train car. Yeah, fucking great. That's amazing.
Okay, yeah. So we have John C. McGinley, who's playing Chuck, the real estate agent, and he's showing them around the house. John McGinley, you might know him from Scrubs.
Yep.
He's also in Wild Hogs, which we covered with Abrick a little bit ago.
I think I seen him when I came down and watched 3 minutes of it.
Yeah. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you had to witness 3 minutes of Wild Hogs.
It's okay. It resurfaced my 11, 12-year-old memories of watching that movie and just being... I liked it then. I
mean, here's the thing: is like watching Wild Hogs and then watching Norbit after. I started to appreciate Wild Hogs a lot more.
I'm glad that you said that because the comparison between the two is nil.
It's ridiculous. It's like it's a valley of a difference, and like they're both not good movies, but like totally different beasts.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so as Nick is touring the house, basically, you know, stuff's falling around him everywhere. The light's coming off. Chuck goes to open up the door to the roof, and the handle comes off in his hand. All the signs are there. And then he kind of pressures them into buying the house by scheduling another couple to come in after them.
Yeah, the basic sales tactics.
You know it. Speak. Yeah. So they're like, we'll take it. And then they're just hanging out on the roof. And then they talk about breaking in the house and a lot of rooms to break in. And then like right when they would start to, get a little busy, like Nick just falls straight through the roof. Yeah. But then he's like, yeah, we'll take it. Like after he falls through, he's like, I love this shit.
Bro, evidently Ice Cube is Nick. His decision making is not very sound.
No,
evidently,
definitely not.
But all for the sake of the movie, of course.
Yeah, you got to get him into this house.
Yep, exactly.
And yeah, once he moves in, he is living the high life. He has built himself the biggest sandwich you could ever imagine. And then it's like his kids are like causing trouble, and he's like, well. He's not right next to me anymore, so like, who cares?
Yeah, the classic dad relief.
Yeah,
big ass sandwich, left alone. That's every dad's fucking greatest.
Dog, it's a cartoon. Dude, that's why sandwich is cartoon material.
That's why I can't do it anymore. The critic inside of me goes, "Yes, that's not very realistic." Yes, no, yes, classic.
But that's the thing is like it doesn't have to be a realistic movie either.
It's true. It's true.
Because we sit there and we're like, is it entertaining enough?
Right.
Like, because I think that's the thing about like both of these movies is that they, the people who wrote it probably know exactly what goes into a screenplay, right? Exactly. On page 10, you got to say, you save the cat, and then page 10, get the plot going, like all those crazy structural things that can help you to write a movie, but are not the things that amount to an actual movie.
Right, exactly.
I mean, at the end of the day, we want to like lose our suspension of disbelief and get lost in that world a bit, and then just, fully forget we're even watching the thing.
Right. Which is what I had to remind myself, because I feel like the more and more I get into analyzing film, the more my brain goes, is this a pass or a fail for the message that they're not only message, but the action that they're trying to convey? Like,
yeah, and the audience they're going for too, right? Like,
but I will say on the inverse is that it's kind of a refreshing palate cleanser to not really dumb yourself down, but yeah, dumb yourself down to the levels of, I'm just going to enjoy this and see where this vehicle takes me.
Yeah. I mean, I think you have to watch a lot of bad movies to understand how good movies work too. Because when you see a beat that you've literally seen in other films work, and then all of a sudden it feels jarring,
right?
Like that moment of narrative disconnect, like can hit you, and like that was my problem with Norbit. Is like I keep bringing it up just to rag on it. I'm gonna have nothing else to say about it. But like I felt like I was looking through the screen watching that. Yeah. Like whereas at least here I was like, I know what's going on, and you know I'm rolling my eyes at it, but I'm at least like reacting to it. You know?
Yeah. But it's kind of like a disconnected Engage, because you're like looking through the screen at Eddie Murphy's beady little Norbit eyes, and you're just going, "Shut the fuck up, man! Why are you doing? What's up with the accent? Huh? Where did that was improv for sure. I know they didn't tell him to do that.
Norbit, shut the fuck up!
Shut the fuck up, Norbit." Oh man.
Yeah. So as they're moving in, there's like a good gag. All the neighbors bring them housewarming gifts, but everyone brings them sturgeon fish because that's what like the local town is known for.
It was giving me like, it was supposed to be suburbia, but it was giving me big like Mississippi like vibes.
Yeah,
like, very country-esque.
Because it starts as suburbia, and then they start showing like weird neighbors coming by.
Yeah.
And it's like they got the goth family or something, and you're like, what? Like all the goth kids are giving you sturgeon. Sure, man. And you're like, I guess this is what we're sitting here doing.
I guess this is what we're doing. That's the exact thing that you have to say when you're watching that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and there's a million things here. Like I wrote down the kids lose the dog, and Nick goes looking for the dog, and then he finds like the deer from the first movie that like fucking wilded out on him. And it's just like, I completely forgot that was even a thing that happened until I looked back down, because it's just a million physical gags. Like you cannot clock any of these.
Can't remember all of them. No, not at all. But all of them do serve a functional purpose, and I think it does well enough. I think it stands on its own two legs for the most part.
Yeah, I think so. You know, and there's some stuff that like works for me, like where they're like the family's all arguing around the dinner table. You know, the daughter Lindsay's like, I miss my friends, and I don't have cell reception or whatever, and you know, Kevin's like, I can't breathe outside. I don't like outdoors. Like, and they like, you know, they're just like, this house is great. This house is fine. And like the chandelier like comes and falls on the table, and they're like, well, at least the table's sturdy, and the table breaks. Like, like some of that's the thing. This stuff feels close to working.
It has like a functional frame to it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like how you said before with the industry, they know exactly where to place things, almost to the point where it becomes expected in a sense.
And I really like, I wouldn't actually be surprised if this was like a shot for shot remake of the Money Pit type deal, where or like the script is the same, like where some of these things probably didn't feel as overplayed back then, but feel overplayed now. And then they also like updated other things. And so there's just this weird like skeleton of a script, right? That is a good foundation, but also like, what are these characters doing in this world, right?
Yeah, right. And if that is true, the Money Pit analogy, I could see that, because there's like I literally can picture it as a frame. There's supposed to be a picture in there, but it's not. It's just like a punched fist through it, and it's on the fist it says Ice Cube, and they're like, "Woo, racial ambiguity, baby, let's go." That's what great. I'm talking about. That's good enough. That is good enough.
That's gonna be the thumbnail for this.
Ice Cube, yeah, hell yeah. I fucking love that.
I mean, we just get more Chuck stuff here, because Nick tries to fix the chandelier, shorts out the power in the house, and this is the first time Chuck shows up as a contractor and is like, okay, you know, this is what it's gonna cost you. Right. And Ice Cube's like, why didn't you tell me about this before? The whole family blows up on him because like they're like, you didn't hire an inspector.
Yeah.
Like you didn't. And again, it's one of those things that like two people signed their name onto the lease. Like the wife would have thought of this even if the husband was being dumb. But for the sake of the movie, this is what we got to roll with, right?
Well, especially with like Ice Cube, if you remember his character from the first one, he says, what did he say? He said,
like, I got it or something?
No. Nia Long asked him, she's like, is this cantaloupe ripe? And then he goes to like smell it. He's like, baby, I don't eat nothing without an expiration date on it. I said, oh my God. She said, you eat as bad as my son. And I was like, if you kind of put that into the context, like you got to get into the lore of the are we there / are we
Fair
done
enough.
universe, bro, this guy, he's eating Chef Boyardee type beat.
Well, he's the ultimate bachelor.
Yeah,
right?
there we go.
I mean, that's why he thinks he can, fix the whole house.
Exactly.
But like, that's never going to happen.
Right.
And he's just going to make it worse every time too. Yeah.
And if that is kept in mind, then you're like, oh yeah, classic Nick. But I'm gonna be real with you. Nobody is thinking about like his character lore or his backstory, and they expect him to be a rational
not at
person.
all. Exactly. And it's just like, you need to understand that he hates raccoons or something. like why does he get so obsessed with like needing to swat the raccoon off the roof?
Why does he like hype up the kid in the first movie to feed a deer? He's like, don't be scared of wildlife, man. It's just wildlife. And he's like, oh shit, a raccoon. Bro, come on now, man.
Should have hired us, man. We would have been looking into the lore of Ice Cube.
Hey, don't hire me in 2023 to produce PC related colored films, because I won't do it.
I do have a question. So if you want to make this a trilogy, right? What's the trilogy? Because like you have the car getting like destroyed in the first one, right? And that's like Nick as a bachelor, like it's his shell as a bachelor getting broken down, right?
Right.
Same thing with the house. He is like a rocky foundation now, and like has to be like, if you want to really read into it, it has to be rebuilt, and like, parts about him have to be rewired and redone so that he can have a nice family, right?
Bro, I got it for you. Are we retired yet?
Oh,
Nick and Nia Long are trying to go into retirement. The kid, like maybe the older daughter is already like out of the house.
Yeah.
And it's
both kids got to be out of the house.
Yeah, both kids out of the house, but
they have twins too, though.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Bruh, Nick's tired of shit. Sports magazine's going up. He's sitting there.
Not a sports magazine. He does swap into a new magazine called Are We Done Yet at the end.
Oh shit.
It's like a family magazine.
You're right. Okay. Let's say magazine goes off.
Yes.
At this point, he's like, baby, we should just retire. Boom. Cue the fucking kids. 7-8-year-old kid riding around on little tricycles through the halls. One of them has a glass of milk, throws it up in the air, splashes all over Ice Cube. He looks square into the camera and goes, are we retired yet? Okay, maybe not, but it could be kind of meta, right?
I like it. I mean, I like the idea of like all their kids in college or something, and they're trying to get them jobs, and they're like, we can't retire until we make sure you guys are set up,
Yeah, exactly.
Although like it would be fun to find another road trip movie for no reason.
Well, maybe
just to be like, because the grandkids idea, like let's go. Now it's Ice Cube with 2 of his grandchildren, right?
Yeah.
And so like it's another one of these like kids these days type like things like oh you don't get it, and then like but yeah, he's got to learn something.
See, I'm not even gonna lie, as fucking trophy and as stupid as it would be if I seen old 50 Cent riding around with 2 like grandkids and they redo
and they're TikTok dancing.
Bro, they redo the scene from when the kids are first getting to the navigator. He's like, couple rules: don't touch the navi and don't touch the radio, and we ain't getting no heat in this sucker. But now it's the grandkids, and he's like, let me try to put on some real music, not this TikTok jazz. Puts on 50 Cent again. Did it in the first one as well. Kids fucking hate it. Me as a child, I mean, I was banging 50 Cent, but I mean, whatever, right? But I think it'd be interesting. If I was forced to, I would need like a $1 million contract to put my name on that one, though.
Yeah, I mean, I would take the gig.
What, 6 figs? Come on, you're not doing this for fucking couple $100.
I'm doing it for the exposure, man.
Oh, bro, you're going up. You're gonna be the new movie 43 guy in 2023.
This is the movie 43 guy, isn't it? Oh no, that's the next guy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Christ. No. This is the movie 3043.
Oh my God. See, I mean, shit, you're the next coming, dude. Steve Carr's apprentice.
I mean, that's a great moment to just talk about Steve Carr, the director here. So his first film is Next Friday, the sequel to Friday.
Yeah, which I was pleasantly surprised to find out. I didn't know that.
I mean, it's probably his best film on here.
Damn, I like Next
arguably.
Friday.
I mean, but yeah, it's interesting because both Next Friday and Are We Done Yet are sequels that aren't received as well as the original films that they're based off of. But both of those films are original films too.
Right.
But yeah, this guy also did Paul Blart Mall Cop, movie 43, as mentioned before, Daddy Daycare, and Dr. Dolittle too. Like, I mean, that's he's not guy like known for a lot of these direct to DVD type movies.
He was killing it at the time in which these movies were in demand and popular. Movie 43, that was like I think that was very like meta for him. Like he was like, all right, it's time to get real fucking weird. Hugh Jackman wearing a nutsack as a chin. That's all I have to say.
I don't have any real comments on that movie other than it's a thing that exists.
It's a catastrophe.
Well, it feels like if you wanted to understand the true mania of the 2000s and the types of like things that were like being pushed in our faces in the media, it's like that's exactly it.
Yeah, that's like, it right
this
there.
Is what a big budget sketch movie looked like with tons of crazy ass actors in it. Like,
hella A-list.
How the fuck did this happen? And then also like why this too? And,
right. Yeah.
Just fucking weird. Yeah. So Chuck reveals that he was on the '86 Lakers. Got any comments about that?
I know that they had to do it just because of the whole like sports gag thing.
The moment they set it up, you know where it's going to.
I was like, bro.
Like, this guy knows Michael Jordan. So in the third act, he's going to come and save your ass about it, right?
Yep, exactly. Yeah. Despite all the troubles that Chuck has costed you, he can introduce you. I was on the Lakers back in '82. I would probably link you up with Michael. Well, that would have been nice to know when we moved in, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Man, I wouldn't have had to move in. I could have just known you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And this is where like we kind of get into the dry rot repair, which is like one of the few groups of like the repairmen that you actually meet. And it's this Samoan, team of drywall repair guys because they say they know it the best out on the islands or whatever. It's just like everything's being played in this like, are we just gaming Ice Cube here? Like, do they go house to house and say the same shit to everyone?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. But I thought the kid in the drywall team, his name's Taj Mowry. He plays Wade in Kim Possible.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then he's also in the sitcom Smart Guy.
Damn. Okay.
But like it was one of those like I was like, what is so familiar about this guy? And then immediately clicked.
Something highly recognizable.
Yeah, I mean he's not like he sounds like a smart guy too. So you can see where like they probably drew that line for Wade.
Right.
Chuck takes everybody fishing. And I don't know, does Ice Cube, so everyone's in a canoe by themselves. And Ice Cube sees either a giant sturgeon or a shark. Like I was not sure what it actually was.
I thought it was just supposed to be a giant sturgeon.
Okay, that's what I thought. Because it comes by and it has like a shark fin.
Yeah.
And then he's like, we're gonna need a bigger boat, like making Jaws jokes or whatever.
Right,
but I like because the thing screams in his face, like when he first sees it. He goes face to face with him and yells. Yeah. So I was like, the sharks don't do that, obviously.
No, I don't think sturgeons scream either, but I feel like they were just trying to play up on all right, we're going to do a Jaws line. Yeah. And then we're going to make sure that this seems suspenseful, for a comedy film level of suspense,
Yeah. This is after this, like Lindsay's kind of fallen for this this guy, and so she goes to his party. Ice Cube finds out. He's like, I gotta put a stop to this, and it's just a classic. I run into a party, I yell at my daughter, everyone's like, oh, and then we go home. But she's like 13 in this movie.
Yeah.
Which, like, and they say it a couple times to be like, that is her age.
Yeah, right.
And it's obviously not a party with like tons of drinking or anything depicted on screen because that's not what you do. But like, what is the implication here, right? And like,
exactly.
And how old is this dude? Like, you're like, yeah.
If it's not supposed to be like one of those situations, like you look at Ice Cube, you're like, damn, Ice Cube, like, what was there to be?
Right. If everyone has Hawaiian Punch and it's just like exactly like it's just a little fun party, like what's the fucking problem? I swear I didn't mean that in a racist way.
It's just, what's the fucking problem, right? You have to leave that in. We're leaving that in. That's a 0.5 use to your N-word pass, brother. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I do love when they're at the party that Chuck is just like, he's got some torches and he's like flame dancing like hey, out of nowhere.
Bro, they really wanted to push Chuck as like the man of many talents.
Exactly.
But I really love the fact that they make him the comic relief every single time without fail, because as much as it's fucking like, bro, what else can this guy do? That is what gets your mind like wandering. It's not like, shit, if it was fucking Eddie Murphy doing this shit, or like any other person who relies a lot on like their dramatic effect or flair to their comedy,
right,
which kind of detracts away from the scene itself. I feel like he did very, very well. Just popping
he
in
is
and out.
Very selfless and is also so committed to each one of his different personalities. Like he truly feels like he knows what type of film he's in. I don't know if like the rest of the film was written to keep up with it though, is kind of like the problem.
Yeah.
Because he's not exactly laugh out loud funny, but he's definitely the most entertaining part.
Right.
Like throughout.
Just because it's interesting and you already know what to expect. So you're like, all right, what is this guy? What's his next gag going to be? Is it going to be Bob Ross next? Or like what?
And like, you know, when he's got that flame stuff, he just he just ditches the torch in like 2 seconds. And like when he throws it away, like you hear the Wilhelm scream, which is like one of my favorite sound effects. It's an Easter egg that is like thrown into movies and has been thrown into movies for the last like 50 years or so.
Right.
But like most famously, essentially there was a sound editor who liked putting in this one background actor scream into every movie. The same like 2-second clip. And he would just like throw it in at random ass spots, but he worked on Star Wars. Like when it was a nothing movie. And so like the Wilhelm screams in that, and it's in Indiana Jones too. And like just keeps popping up. And now people know what it is.
Yeah, it's gained its notoriety and fame. Right.
But it's a very cartoonish sound effect. And you know, you're like when he threw that, I laughed, but I was like, some of the Ice Cube, you know, comedy wasn't hidden in that same way.
Yeah.
And the thing about Chuck is like, he maybe is a bit too comedic. I know you just almost made the opposite point, but like the character is almost too comedic to work, because at the end they try to give him this emotional arc of he's always talking about his wife and how she's on tour, and then it's revealed that his wife is actually dead, and he's just kind of like not owning up to the fact of it, right? Or letting the family know. But the conversation they have. They just kind of brush right over that stuff. It's like none of those things actually matter to the characters. They're just used like to make Ice Cube feel bad for a moment and be like, oh, maybe I should have gave this guy a shot. Oh, he doesn't have a family. He can be a part of mine. Like he doesn't actually like really feel the pain. It's just like the fact of this guy's single is what does it.
The classic Mary Sue, you only do things because it's happening in front of you type. The character doesn't react emotionally, but reacts because it is in front of him. Yeah,
well, and that's even a great analogy too, because like the argument with a Mary Sue is that it's a female character that has been written to be exceptional, maybe, and like the way a lot of internet nerds talk about it, they'll just get angry. They're like, oh, that person wasn't trained, or that person there's a skill gap that didn't make sense, and sometimes those things like really don't matter, but like. It's nice to have a little bit of a logic through line with everything. And that's the thing about Chuck is like, it was like he is overworking to give other people homes, right? Because he doesn't have a home or family himself.
Right.
But then they didn't put in that work to develop that that back half of his character.
Right.
And because of that, he does feel like a Mary Sue. Because like, why is he so good at everything?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Like, and yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah, which is, you know, I guess, I mean, maybe it was like time constraints or like they're just like, we don't need that.
It's it's a 90 minutes comedy, like family friendly comedy.
I imagine there was somebody in the writing room that was like, we should give this guy character development. And then everyone's just like, Steven, shut the fuck up. We have 90 minutes. What do you want to do? You want to take away from Ice Cube?
They're like, dude, it's John C. McGinley. Like,
what is this? Is this a Scrubs fucking rerun? No.
They're like, this is the 8th guy we called.
Oh, man.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, Chuck, he decides he's got to move in, brings his Airstream up to the house. And they just kind of go even heavier on like all the home repair. This is like where we were talking about that middle section where it's just a lot of physical gags kind of piling up on top of each other. Bats attacking Ice Cube, you know.
More animal comedy.
Yeah, I mean, really. And then, you know, Chuck and Nick, they ended up fighting. And Nick kind of just calls off the whole thing. He's like, I don't want you, Chuck. And then all the other contractors quit too because they have loyalty to him. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden his family leaves too. And then it's just him. And he's like, damn it, I'm going to build this house myself for some reason. I don't know why he decides to. It seems like he's had a loss of faith at this moment,
right?
Which should mean return to his bachelor life. Right. But instead he just kind of hangs out in the house and starts building things to like try to win his wife back over. But it feels like that turn happens out of nowhere.
Right. It seems like, I feel like with that, it was either like a play on his character's stubbornness due to the fact that, again, like in the first one, he didn't really have to drive 500 miles to Vancouver to deliver those kids.
No.
Could have been, I mean, he tried the train and the airplane, but it didn't work.
Exactly.
For the sake of the film, of course. But I think they wanted to play on that again is that if I can't trust anybody to get the job done, I have to do it. And then in tandem, my wife will be impressed with me.
Right.
That I finally put the final nail in that coffin so she doesn't have to worry about it.
Well, it is fair. Like, he has the character progression from the last movie, right? Mm-hmm. He cares about these kids. Mm-hmm. And you know, his wife is now pregnant with his twins too. So it is more, there's more online.
Right. More
it's not, he can't exactly just walk away either.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it just feels like essentially, you know, him and his wife are arguing about Chuck as they always do. And then it's just like, she's like, I just need some time. You've hurt me too much this time. It's just, it's not believable.
Yeah. There's no build up to that melodrama, right. You know?
And they're just hitting the same argument they've had the whole movie. It's just like, it's got to break down here because this is the point of the movie.
Yeah. This is what we need for the plot pretty much.
Yeah. But, you know, Nick wants to sell the house too. So that's why he's like fixing up the roof. Oh, I guess that is his way out. He wants to sell it.
There we go.
Oh, man. Okay, ignore the last 2 minutes.
It's okay, guys.
That's fine.
It just went.
He's putting the roof up so that he can sell it.
Yeah.
But then in the process, he's like, you know what? I feel like a man. I'm winning my wife's love back. Anyways. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this is where, you know, Nick goes and apologizes to Chuck. Get all of that conversation where it's just really not. It's not. Okay, this is what I will say is in the scene, Chuck reveals that he has already called Michael Jordan because he knows Nick is stressed about the magazine.
Right.
And Nick needs to make this deadline for the magazine or else he's going to have to return his advancement. And money's been an issue the whole movie. So it's just implied that like everything is riding on this one interview. Mm-hmm. And Nick doesn't even have to ask Chuck, hey, can you call Michael Jordan for me? Or be the one to like, you know, say, look, I know this whole time I've been paying you to do stuff for my house, you know, because you were the only guy to do it and I had no choice. But like now, you know, like I'm going to make a choice and extend this this branch and actually try to make a connection with you.
Right.
And, you know, Chuck's just such a good guy. He already did it. But this is where like this whole conversation could have gone a lot differently had the same result and felt much more narratively satisfying.
Yeah, it kind of tied everything together in like a pretty little bow, you know?
Yeah.
The emotional core that we were speaking about earlier that's not really present. It's just the fist with Ice Cube's name
Right.
across
And
it.
and it's like that's why that's the scene where I was like, oh, that's where it should have hit. This is the turn. And that's just where you can tell it doesn't come together as a movie.
Right.
For those reasons.
I mean, even if they had it like Chuck's mid apology, Ice Cube's like trying to do a heartfelt, you know, apology to him. And Chuck's like, looks at his phone, it's ringing, and goes, oh, hold on one sec. Ice Cube gets hella pissed off. He's like, hey, man, I'm trying to, he goes, oh, Michael, what's going on, man? That right there could have been like a really good buildup because it adds to the whole, bro, what? Like, how does Chuck know Michael Jordan? All right.
Yes,
It's another one of his things.
Like, it could have been a surprise rather than like a Chekhov's gun of like, I know Michael Jordan. So like, when is the gun going to go off of you meeting Michael Jordan?
Exactly. Yeah. Which, of course, it could have been done more tasteful, but hindsight is always 2020. Yeah.
And then, you know, we basically get into the wife going into labor, and this is what kind of brings everybody back into the same house. And there is a little, like, they've repaired the house right before this, done a nice little montage. She goes into labor, and then when she's pushed into the house, she's kind of like seeing all the renovations for the first time. And she's like, oh, those are nice floors, which is like, it's a little fun. Like, I liked that. Have to give due to the things that work, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And then, Chuck, like, he's at his house, and so his car won't start, so he can't get there. So he gets into this crazy joggers fit. And is doing the most ridiculous, like, fast walking you've ever seen.
Right, yeah.
And, you know, he said he was like a midwife and that he trained to do that in Switzerland or Sweden or something.
Again, another one of his fucking skills. I love
Mary
it.
Sue, man.
Dude, but hey, I love it. That he low-key cared. Like, the more that I think about it and the more we talk about it, I'm like, bro, he's pretty much Jesus.
Yeah.
Just in like multiple different hats, you know?
I think he could walk on water.
You know, probably. He'd probably go, hey, Ice Cube, you're having a flood? Bro, you're lucky I can walk on water. I'll carry you and your family all on my shoulders.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's, you are right. They're magic.
Yeah.
Magic.
It is magic.
It is magic. But he gives the phone call while they're you know, in labor. And Nick kind of, you know, he starts to ask the types of questions he would want to ask, but he's also just asking questions about the situation. Like, hey, you got kids too, right? And essentially, you know, he's had this writer's block the whole film. And it's kind of fun because, like, when he's in this situation, he just knows what he wants to say. Like, he does ask one or two sports questions, which shows you, okay, he's knowledgeable. He could be good at this job. But it's really nice that he just decides to put the phone down. You know, and is like, I don't need to take this call right now. There are more important things happening. And, you know, eventually he does get the interview with him later in the new form of the magazine, which we see at the end of the film when they're having this launch party for it. But, you know, it's nice that, like, in the first film, it feels like he puts away some of his, like, dreams of, like, you know, being a crazy sports guy or something, right? Like a bachelor or whatever. And then he's like, all right, I'm taking a more realistic stance to this all now. Really, that's the film. It's 6 months later. We're at the launch party. And like, as the last beat, a ladder falls onto Nick's car and it hit, you know, it destroys the windshield.
Yeah.
Which just feels funny because it's like the moment he got his perfect house, more shit's happening to him. Back to the car.
You thought it was over. Exactly. Yeah. But it's never going to end.
This is this guy's life.
It's just destruction. If you want to get real philosophical with it, would this guy be in the eternal thought recurrence? Have you heard of that?
No.
It's Nietzsche saying, if you had to live your life with every outcome being the same and do it over again, would you? Would he?
If you knew that you were going to get hit in the nuts like 20 times, like while you're building your house, like would you maybe be like, I could make a couple choices different?
I could make a couple changes, you know.
No, man, all those nuts hits, those are what made me the man I am today.
Bro, taking a direct nut shot from a Paul Bunyan statue in a parking lot in the Midwest made me the man I am today. He really shouldn't be able to have kids at this point. If you want to be realistic, right?
Let alone twins.
Hey, this guy's got Ice Cube be shooting.
Dude, it's probably 2 half kids. Like one kid split in half.
2.5 men.
2.5.
2.5 men reboot.
Oh, yeah, that's killer. Honestly, I don't know. You got any other thoughts on this?
I mean, honestly, I know we're gonna get into Norbit, but I'd like to say this now. I'm giving, like, if I had to choose between the two, if I had to do the fucking eternal thought recurrence, but with the same movie, I had to watch my entire lifespan. Would I watch it over again? I'm choosing Are We There / Are We Done Yet?
I'm absolutely down.
I mean, I actually had a pleasant experience rewatching it. So.
I agree. There's at least like you're seeing Ice Cube and you're like, I haven't seen Ice Cube do this thing for, like he's not always playing in this family friendly vehicle. It's just, it's fine. Like that's the thing about this film. I gave it like a flat 5 out of 10. Just like it's a movie. And like, it's going to work for like a lot of people, but like, I'm not going to dock any points for like it not, fully exceeding rolling the ball with me,
Would you have placed anyone else in the cast
Oh, wait, I didn't give this a 5. I gave Are We There Yet a 5 out of 10. That was my.
What'd you give Are We Done Yet?
I think I gave it a 3.
Oh, fuck, that hurts. But it's reasonable.
I think it's more. It might be more like 4. It's like it's you're splitting hairs here, and it's like whatever your scale means to you.
Yeah, I think I think that's fair. Honestly,
to me, I go below the 5 when again the pieces of the craft don't end up adding together, right? Like because it can be a movie, it can be a family friendly movie and get a 10, right? Like because it can exceed in its own frame rate. Or framework, but this just doesn't come together fully enough to make it worth it.
I could feel that. I think probably my last thought on it was, I was saying, would anyone else work in this role? Like, I couldn't imagine Martin Lawrence doing this shit.
I see Kevin Hart doing something like this.
It'd be fire. Well, he did Kevin Hart did do something kind of like campy and troopy recently.
A lot of his movies are.
Yeah, that is very true, actually. Well, never mind. I won't get on the Kevin Hart fucking thing. We'll talk about this after the fact. But yeah, I mean, if I had to rate it, I would probably give it like a 4.5 as well. Yeah,
solid.
Yeah, especially for what it is. That's the only thing that I keep in mind when I'm watching these type of films.
I feel it. And exactly. I don't have anything else to say there. So
no, it's all good, dude.
We'll cut in somewhere there, but I'll be like, all right, cool. We will take a short break and be right back.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Oh my God. I can't believe we had to talk about Norbit.
Yeah, bro. We're going to body Norbit though.
So we're back from the break, everybody. And why I am freaking out right now is because I was just double checking who the director of Norbit was, which is the film we were covering, obviously. It's in the title. Brian Robbins is the name of the director of Norbit. I looked him up before just to see what else he had directed. And I saw The Shaggy Dog, which is the Tim Allen, body swap movie with the dog that came out 15 years after those movies were out of style.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Insane. And then also he did the Good Burger movie, which is probably like
Kenan and Kel.
Yeah, one of his better things on his list. But he is currently the president and CEO of Paramount Pictures and Nickelodeon.
Oh shit! Hell yeah, dude, bro.
What is,
dude? The more and more I find out about the film industry, the more I realize it's just like, bro, you just gotta come with anything you fucking have in your folder and just say fuck it. And people will go, this guy? Hey, this is the guy that did Norbit. let's get him the CEO of Paramount and Nickelodeon.
How?
Bro.
It's absurd.
Hey, that guy, he wears his heart on his sleeve and he goes, yeah, I made Norbit. I love that movie. He is fucking unapologetic, I bet you.
You know who else loves this movie?
Who?
Joe Rogan. I did a quick Google of this, and it was like he had an Instagram post from 2 years ago that said, just put on Norbit with the family. And he's like, people don't realize how great Eddie Murphy's range is. And they're like, and this is the movie that proves it.
Joe Rogan has a fucking podcast where people listen to his public opinion. Let me remind all you guys watching. Oh my God. That's actually
just anytime some dude comes up to you and says something that like Rogan taught him, you can now just say that, like, you know, that dude loves Norbit. I'm the one takedown.
I'm going to discredit both Averick and Austin. Both those guys, they're going to go, yeah, did you watch the new JRE? I'm going to go, oh, yeah, the guy that fucking loves Norbit? He thinks Norbit's a good movie? I'm definitely going to listen to that guy. Every single year, there's something about Joe Rogan that makes me hate him more.
Yeah,
I used to love him.
It's a bit unfortunate. I think he would have been fine if he didn't blow up as big as he did. You know, because like he really just blew up because he has a YouTube section on his videos and I worked at a dispensary. You could walk by any like computer screen in the back,
Jerry is on,
and it would be on in the background, even if there wasn't someone in the room listening to it.
Right.
Which was like just crazy.
Yeah. I mean,
the hold he has on like, just like, oh yeah, just throw it on. That's a, you know.
Yeah, I understand it. I feel like it's because he's like the stoner white knight for like the stoner population, you know?
Yeah.
But that is also why he likes fucking Norbit, because he's smoked out of his fucking mind going, God damn, Eddie Murphy's funny. Shit.
But man, she's fat.
Eddie Murphy has range. Can you believe this shit? He was in The Nutty Professor. Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So DreamWorks made this movie too, which is a fun one.
Did you know DreamWorks changed their intro?
I did. I saw the new intro. Well, it's much more animated focused.
Yeah.
Like they kind of scroll through a few of their big properties, but you know, doesn't feel great when you see the trolls up there, you know?
They were in there?
I'm pretty sure.
I must have missed them.
Maybe that's Universal. Maybe I'm just fucking getting all this shit mixed up.
Possibly. I sure do hope there's not fucking trolls in there.
I mean, there's Shrek in there, and he's close to
Shrunk is awesome, bro.
He's great.
It's great. Dude, we're greenlit for 2 more Shreks in the next 2-3 years.
We do need to talk about Shrek though.
Dude,
because obviously Eddie Murphy, you know, is in Shrek.
Donkey. Yeah.
Donkey. But also Shrek the Third comes out this year. So for Eddie Murphy, like these are his 2 big films.
Yep.
Norbit and Shrek the Third. Shrek the Third is where the bottom starts to fall out of the franchise.
Yeah.
Like if they had stopped at 2, people probably would have. There probably would have been way less Shrek memes because people would have been making fun of the Shrek movies less because they were actually like all right before that.
I feel like it would have become cult classic-y if it had gone that route a little bit. But not to detract from Norbit's
Toy Story 3 style. They come back 13 years later, like to close the story.
I mean, Loki kind of is, bro. I've heard in the works Shrek 5, Shrek 6.
Oh yeah, well, and they said Shrek Forever After was it, but
no
way, no way.
No.
Mike Myers ain't out,
bro. How old is Mike Myers now?
He's over 50 at least.
Yeah, fuck.
I mean, I really love Mike Myers, but you know, I think Mike Myers and Eddie Murphy are actually perfect parallels because they did have their rises and falls about the same time.
Right.
And like this is the start of the end for like a lot of these comedy movies. Because they used to just greenlight something and say, well, here, DreamWorks, the 2 movies they made this year. Blades of Glory is a Will Ferrell vehicle. Norbit is a Eddie Murphy vehicle.
It's all carried by the comics rather than the actual film itself.
And I think that's why they're like, okay, whatever script, whatever idea you got, throw it up. And you know, like it'll probably make a good amount of money just because we have your face on it.
Right.
But it's also the end of bankable stars because I think a lot of movies like this just start to ruin the image of the stars that are in them.
Yeah, it becomes watered down, disillusioned.
Yeah. Like the Love Guru hits and Mike Myers has to, you know, reevaluate his career, you know, and he stops making movies.
That was a really bad movie. That was a really bad fucking movie, dude.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, I think Sandler made the right call by at least going to Netflix before the industry like fully collapsed.
Well, and he had his whole Happy Madison like thing. Like he plays himself in everything except for
serious movies,
Diamond
Uncut
Film,
Gems,
Uncut
and
Gems. There we
Punch
go.
Drunk Love, or the Meyerowitz stories, or the Cobbler.
But that's a the fucking Cobbler. Holy shit! But that why I wanted to bring that up is that I feel that because he drops in like the gems every so often, is that people get reminded, oh fucking Happy Gilmore can actually act. Like he doesn't just play himself like all the time. Absolutely. That's what ended up happening.
No, he's such a good actor.
Yeah, and that's what ended up happening to comics. Even like I think Will Ferrell is a great actor.
Oh, so good.
His actual acting talent, or his actual acting talent didn't get to shine through in the comedies that he did. Even though a lot of the comedies were really good, it was a slow death and a slow watering down of Will Ferrell content.
I think what you don't notice his acting as much because he is so committed to each one of his characters.
Right.
In that level of commitment takes a tremendous amount of energy and focus, as well as also like developing what that character is and how they move. And it's one of those things, like when you embody something too well, sometimes people may not even know you're acting at all.
Right.
And that's why like a lot of like breakthrough acting performances usually go unknown because people see the movie and then they're like, oh, that Timothée Chalamet guy is like, he just must be like that in real life, right? Mm-hmm. He's not really acting in this movie or whatever.
Which that's a good example. I could totally see in like 5 years, people will be like, Timothée Chalamet just does himself.
Right.
But he doesn't act, which I could see that's where your example.
But like at first he's just playing like high schoolers and kind of just playing like drug addicts, stucky boys and preppy, exactly, drug addicts, all that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. But he has built a nice little career for himself too of different parts. Getting off of Timothée Chalamet.
Getting off of good shit. Let's hop into the fucking bad shit.
You can tell we were trying to avoid this movie at all costs.
Even though we've been name dropping Norbit since about 3 minutes in, and it's only because we're in fear.
Norbit.
I love this movie. He doesn't even know.
Dude, I'm about to drop the mic on him. And at the last 5 minutes of this.
Mic check. Does anybody here like Norbit? Fucking radio silence. Okay.
Norbit.
Norbit and Orbit, dude. He's getting there.
Orbit. Now that's a 2007 gum.
Well, yeah, Orbeez, dude.
5 gum.
You ever think about Orbeez? Little gel things.
Oh, the little.
Dude,
Orbs.
We really don't want to give this guy too much credit, huh?
Okay, yeah. So Norbit is literally thrown out of a car at the beginning of this movie by his parents. Probably the one sensible thing that happens in this film. Like, I think they probably fully understood the kid that they had.
Yeah. Father had a That's So Raven vision of what Norbit would become and said, Jesus, we need to get rid of this now.
Tosses him off in front of... This is rough, man. This is rough. A child orphanage that is also a Chinese restaurant. And is run by a character named Mr. Wong, also played by Eddie Murphy. Maybe doing like worse like shtick than any of the other parts in this. And Rasputa and and Mr. Wong are definitely competing here to see who can outdo each other.
Yeah, who could be the most outrageous caricature of the race they're representing.
Exactly, right. And who can be more offensive or whatever. Yeah, and just it's a fast race to the bottom.
I know for a fact that Eddie Murphy had like everything to do with this.
Absolutely. There's nothing happens in this film without Eddie Murphy wanting to do it explicitly.
So right? Domineering, you might as well just have said that he's the director and the producer.
Yeah, I think he's a credited screenwriter for sure, and yeah, obviously a producer too. But that's the thing. There's so much makeup in these characters that he doesn't do anything without wanting to do it. You have to pick and choose these moments, you know? And then on top of that, he's playing 2 of the main characters. Yep. So anytime these 2 characters have to interact, they have to figure out a way to film it so that he can play both of them. And you can't tell that, the other dude is another dude. Right. And it's his back or his arm in the shot, Right. And they sell it well enough at the beginning because they show like 2 kids playing Norbit in Rasputa, so that you get that image in your head of little Norbit and big girl.
Well, and prior to that, we have the his first little girlfriend.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
See, and this is where we
Kate.
Yeah, we get into the toilet humor aspect of things. So Norbit goes, "We did everything together. We used to write, play in the sandbox together, go poop together." Cut to a fucking scene of them holding hands, going poop on the toilet right next to. Where are two toilets where there's not like a dividing wall to where you can just sit? And they're hella small too. They're like child size.
You never been to an orphanage bathroom?
Bro, I mean, I've been to a couple,
it's like 12
just
toilets.
Straight up toilets, no dividers. They really want to dehumanize them before they ship them out, right? But you know, and maybe that's why Norbit develops his fucking accent in his adulthood when he doesn't have it as a kid, is all the trauma from Mr. Wong in the orphanage. But
yeah, absolutely.
And then, you know, Kate ends up does she get adopted?
Kate gets adopted like 2 weeks after they met, and then Norbit's like left distraught, and you know, essentially Rasputa forces him to be his boyfriend.
Yeah,
after she saves him from some bullies.
You're aware of the Debo trope, right?
The what?
Debo trope.
What's Debo?
So Debo, like. Debo's, oh God, is it? No, it's not Boys in the Hood. I'm fucking so bad. Black people are going to crucify me for this. I can't remember the name of the movie.
We can take a break.
No, I'm gonna just riff it. The act of deboing a nigga or a person would be like, you need to come up out your shit. So pretty much Rasputa pretty much came in and she's like, you my boyfriend now. And Norbit was like, all right. And you know, that's pretty much the lead up. But for some reason, and I bring up the everyone, if you don't know Debo, please just look him up and then refer back to this next statement. Rasputa also has multiple brothers.
Yeah.
And they are all pretty much copy and paste of that Debo character that I'm referring to, except they're like way more wacky and fucking zany.
Dude,
like
they don't even feel like gangsters as much as they feel like, well, I mean gangsters, yes, but like they feel like Italian mobsters.
Yeah,
you know, like that's how sticky it feels, and the way that they're like, we run the, you know, everyone pays us. Like,
yeah,
you're just like,
yeah, exactly.
Is this the fucking Godfather Part 2 or something?
Yeah, real
like,
shit. It was taken to such an extreme, and you forget like you forget one of them is even Terry Crews.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and Terry Crews is that's the thing. He really, like, he was an understated character actor for like, I feel like a lot of years.
Oh, absolutely.
Like White Chicks is a big role for him. But like even I really love him in Idiocracy.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, he
as
plays
the president.
Of like the future dumb society.
We'll have to do an Idiocracy episode, bro.
Great.
That is amazing. I love that movie.
Mike Judge, man, what a guy. But, you know, this is before Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I guess, which is maybe the thing that people know him from now.
Right.
But he's still in the pocket. I mean, I've always loved Terry Crews.
Yeah, Terry Crews is going crazy. I mean, I just love he has that explosive energy to him, which gets to show a little bit in this. But I think his positive traits as an actor becomes overshadowed by the fact that he's this, I wouldn't even say larger than life, but his character is just so out of the box and space that this movie provides that you're just like, okay, Terry Crews and those fucking two other guys are just like, they're just...
Well, and that's the thing. This movie is set up in a way where it's like, you know exactly what the plot of this is going to be like 10 minutes in as well. Like, and it's not in the same way as Are We Done Yet? Where
it's not a good predictability.
They're going to finish this house and there's going to be troubles along the way. It's like, no, there's this orphanage and Kate and Norbit want to keep running the orphanage, but they're both married to people who are evil and want to do other things with the orphanage, and they have ulterior motives because of, you know, the other connections they have. And it's just like, you know exactly what the turn is gonna be. And so like the whole time Terry Crews is like doing his shtick, and it's just like, it feels so weightless.
Right, yeah.
Because it's none of this is really well executed in the script anyways, but he's doing the best he can with what he was given.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like again, I want to provide more organization to the film, but it's because there's so much chaos in it that there's really nothing.
That's the problem. Is it's like like Norbit and Kate, they get married, or not Kate, Norbit and Rasputa get married pretty early on, and there's just like a montage of them having sex and Norbit getting crushed into the bed,
and the bed being broken.
Exactly, just like they're just dehumanizing Norbit the whole time, and it's just Eddie Murphy playing the most pathetic he can, like to a level that is actually like annoying. I think.
Well, it's like we had previously spoke before filming this, but I was like, man, I feel a lot like Eddie Murphy is fucking punching down hard. Like, it's not good shtick, even for like 2000s era level of shtick.
Even if he's making fun of beta males here or some shit like that, like you're also like, what's the fucking point of this?
Yeah,
like,
where's the juxtaposition between any of the issues that Norbit had? And well, that's the thing. He doesn't have an issue besides the fact that he's married to Rasputa, which he did willingly. Yeah. Anyways.
And then also like, he won't leave her because he thinks she's pregnant or whatever. It's just like, it's so bad. Like, you just know the wheels are going to fall off this thing, but any moment.
Right. And even looking at it from a non-critical position, like, you try to go into this as lighthearted as you can. Please comment and tell me if you could fucking actually enjoy this shit, because I didn't, and I sure as hell know Louis didn't.
Or make it through this film, because there were points where I was like, I got the gist.
Yeah,
like,
I can turn it off.
I could read the rest of the plot summary, and nobody would know. Nobody would be like, I've seen Norbit, and you got it wrong.
Exactly. No. That's not how it went. You see, Norbit's character wasn't driven by the fear. He was driven by there's none of that. I can't even really play devil's advocate for any of the actions that he takes.
It's not even like Norbit's down so bad that this whole movie happens, or something like that. Like, it's just like Norbit is less than a character, right? He's just like an object to okay, we need to do this. We need to push Norbit around in this way. And
right, yeah.
Yeah. Just rough.
I mean,
I don't even want to read through the plot.
I'll say one thing on a like a more writer's serious note, I suppose.
Yeah.
So from what I understand, a lot of the times when you do characters, and you want them to develop or have some sort of exposition in a way, you put them through struggles that aren't resolved by the plot. Like, it has to come from the character itself, but like. Again, that's the thing. Norbit is just a punchline, and there's no river for him to cross except for when they go, all right, well, Kate's back. Check that out. Isn't that crazy? Oh no, the orphanage is gonna go under. And then this the ever revolving snowball that hadn't really been going down slope, because it's just a consistent straight line of boom, Norbit, boom, fart. Oh shit, Rasputia gets in the car, and the car goes all the way to one side, and Norbit goes, ha, well, damn, Rasputia. Like, bro, come on.
Man,
you're killing me.
That's what I sat through.
Fucking killing me.
But you're right. I mean, even the love story here, which is the grounded thing, right? The thing that should get us in. Maybe it's where you build some sympathy from Norbit. Like, he can't fuss up to the girl he likes, maybe that's the one place he could be relatable. But it's just, even all the love scenes are, because of the caricature that Eddie Murphy is doing as Norbit, he is undercutting any ounce of dramatic weight that could be there.
Right.
And honestly, if he had just if Norbit was just Eddie Murphy, maybe a little bit of a wig or something to make him look a little nerdy, but they played him just as Eddie Murphy a little more, maybe it would have worked. That's my thought here. It's if he was more of an everyman, and even if the plot is throwing in crazy things at him all the time and he's responding in weird ways, he would at least be grounded in, this is who I am, instead of also being a pushover for everyone, and then not even having his own grounding either. Right. It's just, yeah.
I mean, there could have been an emotional callback there. Like Norbit has abandonment issues, and that's why he responds the way he does. He doesn't stand up for himself, this, that, and the third. Or they could have portrayed Norbit to be more of the character I thought, or the character that they thought he should have been, which is nerdy, shy, reserved, except you don't get any of that character again, because he's more of a comic relief than a character at all. And even calling back to Are We Done Yet? Chuck has more character development and like exposition than Norbit does the entire film.
Oh yeah.
And that's a side character in a fucking...
But you're right, because every character in this movie is comic relief. Like there is nothing else other than that.
Right.
And maybe that would work again if this was a world built on absurd rules and didn't play by reality or the normal conventions of a Hollywood film. But it does. Yep. It wants to be a rom-com and like an outrageous comedy, and it does neither well.
Right. They play too hard on the raunchiness of it. But again, I think that was Eddie Murphy and his toilet humor at the time, especially when you have like the Nutty Professor again, which we spoke about earlier. I feel like in his mindset, he's like, hey man, whatever, if this is what works for people, we could give it to him. Dude, which is like, that is partially like our fault as a consumers for encouraging that type of shit.
Right.
But also, you know, Eddie Murphy is a comic, not only is he a comic, but he's also an actor. Right. So he should be as aware as us as consumers that like this shit ain't fucking hidden.
He's a legendary stand-up comedian. Like if anything, he should know what types of jokes play well with an audience or not.
And his stand-up is not all about punching down. No. And it's not even about really any of the humor that he runs with in films. Maybe because his content is a little less lighthearted on the like actual stand-up like stage type deal. But I'm curious where the mistranslation was between his acting projects and his stand-up. You know, don't get me wrong though, they're funny Eddie Murphy roles and movies that he's in. They're actually
definitely
really good. But we really have to look at Norbit and just be like, what the fuck was this, and who thought this was a great idea?
But I think you identified something really good. It's that like there was this low-hanging fruit that like all comedians were going for in the 90s and the early 2000s, where you know it's the gay jokes, it's the fat jokes, it's the racist jokes, it's the sexist jokes, right? It's like it's all the things that are about otherizing people and punching down, but was like seen as like an okay enough thing to do, like because we were all in on the joke apparently.
Right. Yeah.
When realistically, like this is what it leads you to. Like maybe your first movie doing like throwing in a couple of those jokes is fine, but eventually you get to the point where you're, you know, out of ideas of what you think is comedically funny. Okay, what do people want? And then you just shit out like this. And it's just, I mean, Eddie Murphy is doing one of the most racist caricatures of an Asian, you know, person in on film, right? But like you give him some like leeway because you're also like he's kind of winking at it and being like, oh, like he's addressing the fact that he's black, playing like into other stereotypes, and he's like, I'm a stereotype, so isn't it crazy that I'm doing that? But he's stereotyping his own people. Like this thing is just all over the place. Yeah. I don't even know how you.
Well, there was you know, no restraints or restrictions on who you could and couldn't make fun of at the time. Right. So, and I feel like especially in his position, if I was gonna do a Chinese representation of a Mr. Wong and do it like that, I would think, you know, it's okay if we hit on the stereotypical black tropes a little bit harder in this, just because we're taking shots at other groups in a very strong way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think equality should be something we fight for that's better than just we all get shit on the same.
Hey, we're all in this shit. Let's just start shitting on each other, baby. Fuck it.
Feels like a very crabs in a bucket type thing, right?
That's very, you know, 2000s. It's very 90s.
Absolutely is. Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why, like we said, Eddie Murphy doesn't keep making films. Like, you know, the bottom falls out on a lot of these. And he goes away for a while. I mean, him and Mike Myers both took a big break to readjust. You know, with Murphy, at least, he talks about spending time with his family. But I mean, and then they've both returned now, and it's interesting to see what they're doing because, you know, Eddie Murphy came back with Dolomite is My Name.
Yeah.
And that is a really great role for him because he is playing into the shtick, the crazy character stuff, but it does have this grounded story of like who Dolomite actually was. Like this artist, like, you know, like working on these films, struggling to get them put up and putting everything he had into them.
Right, yeah.
But then he's also like, he did Coming to America, the sequel.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't see that, but you know, it's one of those things that you think, like, you hear it and you're like, oh, that should be a big hit, and then it kind of just like releases on streaming and then nobody talks about it.
Yeah, because you only really, I saw that on Prime Video and I was like, could be good, but no, I didn't even know this is a thing, so I'm kind of not inclined to watch, you know. And
that's the problem with streaming sometimes. Is like, you know, something needs to build a reputation before it can you know, become that, like, before it can be put on streaming. It, you know, when you start on streaming, it's just harder to build up that audience entirely. Man, I mean, we should just talk about some of the side players here. Marlon Wayans is in this. He's playing the aerobics instructor that is, you know, cheating with Rasputa because he has like ideas for his career. Needs to get the connections that was a Big Jack has got. You know, Marlon Wayans is pretty funny. In this,
he's solid.
Yeah, I think he's like, it's rough because like when he's first introduced, he is kind of playing up the homophobia of like, you know, I'm a gay aerobics dancer or whatever, but it doesn't feel hateful either in that same way. It just feels like low-hanging fruit again, of just like, this is how these people act, and them acting like this is inherently funny, right? But it's not like he's really saying hateful things.
Yeah, it's not a characterization of what, you know, representing of what he's trying to represent, I guess you could say. But I mean, then again, the Wayans brothers did like White Girls, and it was done tastefully. The only thing in there is the fucking part where they're singing, they get all the white girls in the car to sing along to the song. And they're in the back.
Making my way downtown, crossing.
Yeah. So, but like, honestly, that was all tastefully done, but that was because they stayed very close to the plot. And then everything else that was wacky and zany was in the moments where the plot wasn't like super dense or super thick.
And they did the Scary Movie films too, right? Because like those, I mean, I haven't seen them in a long time, but at least like, you know, they birthed that whole genre of parody movie. You know, they at least were doing that well enough. Like for, you know, there's like 6 of those, right? Like,
and even to look at it from like an outer, like aside from this being funny, it is taking shots at the repetitive nature of like horror films.
Oh yeah,
repetitive nature of like, oh shit, I started a movie with my 2 white homies and we see a black guy and I go, I bet you money he's about to fucking die. And he fucking does, because what, you know, for some reason that's the thing. But and then followed by the blonde girl, and then the fucking so on and so forth.
Whoever has sex gets killed. And
exactly, yeah. So, but that's where, you know, Norbit didn't do any of its due diligence, I feel like.
Right. So, another good player in here. We've got Cuba Gooding Jr. showing up, playing Dion. He's Kate's wife. Husband.
Yeah.
Already married. That's right.
Yeah.
Wife. But yeah, anyways, he's good. I mean, there's not really much for his role to do other than to look like a charming guy. Right.
Right. Yeah.
He does have a funny bit, I guess, at the end where all of his ex-wives and baby mamas show up, and, you know, kind of yell at him. It's okay.
I'm not gonna lie to you. When that came across, I was still just like, stone
at that point, exactly. I was just like, all right, like, sure, that's happening.
Cool.
Exactly. I was not laughing.
Right.
I think it was just less bad than the other things here.
Absolutely. Yeah. That is one thing that, I'm sorry guys, we're just talking fucking shit about Norbit, but you know, you rewatch it and you tell me what you think.
You know, there is a scene in this movie where a pony is being ridden by some kids, and Norbit's looking at the pony, and Norbit feels like the pony. You know, the pony's like crying.
The pony starts crying. Yeah.
I felt like that pony watching Norbit. Yes.
You're led on a little spinning carousel thing, and you're just being fucking mounted by Norbit and all of its terrible tropes.
I'm stuck on this 2-hour ride. I know there's no end.
Yep.
and even right now, I know people are staring at me having this experience, and enjoying it while I have to be miserable.
Yes, exactly.
It's god awful.
Me and you both were like that pony at that circus. Me and you both, dude.
So we also have in the cast we have Cat Williams, and I'm ready. I don't have the fucking names in front of me, so I only remember Cat Williams.
Yeah,
name.
that's pretty much the same. That's what I was gonna say. That Cat Williams was a good cameo, I suppose.
Yeah, it's
like all the cameos in this film are probably like the best part about it.
Oh yeah, well, the other guy's Eddie Griffin.
Oh yeah. Fuck, I forgot.
But just both great comedic actors, but. You are right. It's like they've cast a great supporting team here, but to do what?
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah,
that's a whole lot of nothing. But it's it was probably like a buddy type deal. Like Eddie Murphy was like, "Hey, brothers, hop on this shit real quick. You don't really have to do much, but general consensus. I'm pretty much I'm not going to disrespect Norbit too much. I was about to go all the way in.
You're not going to disrespect Norbit?
No, dude, I'm not going to disrespect.
Is that not what we're here to do?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like I was born to do that, but we defy our destiny.
You were thrown out of a car in front of a Chinese restaurant / orphanage so that you could rag on Norbit? Yeah,
that may stand a test. Like that's a testament to my racial ambiguity. That's why, nobody could ever really know what race I am exactly.
Exactly. Who threw me out of the car?
You'll never know. Was it a white person and a black person? Was it a Jewish and a black person? The world will never know.
Oh, that's good. Oh man, I really want to be done talking about Norbit.
I know.
I'm being honest here. Rasputin's got a line, "How you doing?" That's her.
How you doing?
Yeah. We got to talk about them going to the water park. I think that's just like,
dude. Yeah, Eddie Murphy in his CGI bikini and a fucking fat suit. Listen, people say that Medea is not funny and it's cringe and stuff, but like Eddie Murphy really went full to the bat with this shit and loved every second of it. And not to mention, like, he had to, to make the character, like, actually make sense. Like, the fact that she's constantly fucking up bed frames and cars, you really had to sell the obesity. But at the same time, like, bro, no one in their right fucking mind is gonna send shots like that fucking hard.
It's just not funny. I'm just what is funny about, like, she eats too much food so she doesn't fit in her car, and then she blames Norbit because she's too fat and she doesn't, like, it's like she's not self-aware enough to know she's the reason she's fat. Well, she knows. I think the way they even play it is like she just won't acknowledge that, right? Like that's her fallacy of a world, but even then, like, that doesn't work either. Like, Norbit and Vanessa, like, they kind of start dating after this in secret. Do I really need to do all this? I mean, let's get to that. They lock fucking Norbit in a basement. They're like, Norbit, you're going to fuck up this wedding. We got to marry Kate to fucking Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character, Dion. And just, after that, everyone's going to own the orphanage. We'll renew the liquor license and then kick you guys the fuck out. And Norbit somehow is able to actually pull together and make one choice in his life and is able to unfoil it somehow. Because why not, Yeah.
I can feel the disdain in your voice as you're speaking about this. It's
just, I'm losing any care to keep going with this podcast as I talk about Norbit.
This is the Norbit effect.
I picked a year with Norbit in it. Like, I knew this was in the cards.
It was foretold. But,
I just can't. It was a very harrowing experience, everybody. That's all I have to say.
I could agree with that. Yeah. I mean,
you feel like less than a human watching
the fact that I had to do it like a second time over and probably almost 15 years later. Oh, fuck.
Sorry, man.
Didn't hit well, dude.
I am sorry.
But the things that you do for love and friendship, right?
Yeah. Oh, man. Yep. That not many more notes for me either. It's just, it's fun when they kind of stall the wedding a little bit.
Yeah.
It was okay.
I honestly, I'm in the same boat. I mean, I don't even think I laughed once.
That's the thing. you're so thoroughly broken by the end of this. Like laughing is not on the table.
Yep, exactly. I mean, it's kind of like you said, you start to feel as dehumanized as Norbit is the entire film after watching it.
Oh man. Yeah. Thank you, Norbit.
Cinema Span hates Norbit. Sorry, Eddie Murphy.
Norbit has thoroughly broken me. And so with that, Jay, where can everybody find you?
Everybody can find me on YouTube at Nico Mac and The Loft 818 specifically. Apparently, I found this out today. There's 2 other lofts. One of them is The Loft TV, and the one is a fucking channel with 2 subs from like 14 years ago.
Well, so Jay came up to me with an idea for like a video game YouTube channel type deal, and I was interested in, but he was like, "Yeah, I'm it very much." You were like, "I'm naming it this. This is what the thing is." I'm like, "Cool, I'm on." Like, but I'm not the one making that choice. I definitely Googled The Loft just to be like, what happens when you Google these words, you know? And there's like a couple other things, but also it seemed like one of the major Loft projects up there wasn't crazy popular.
No,
too.
None of them are really going crazy. I mean, not to toot our own horns or anything, but our shorts got more views than their entire channel. So
nice.
Let's just be real. But hey,
that's very cool.
You guys can find me at Nico Mac and us at The Loft. Even if you don't enjoy games, pop by.
Yeah, hear us talk about some video games. Yeah. Shoot some shit, play a couple Loft plays.
Yeah, hey, we're going to have the Loft plays coming soon. Terraria inbound, boys. I'm going to be playing a hodunk hilly-billy farmer. I'm going to go, God damn it, don't touch my crops.
I love it. I'm already there for it. You're gonna have to meet my fisherman character.
I'm down.
Who only plays fishing mini games within other games.
Dude, you're one of those guys.
That's what this guy is. I'm not. I'm playing a character, man.
We're RPing deep in Stardew Valley. Oh, I said Terraria, huh?
Yeah,
I did say Terraria.
That's chill.
Fuck. But shit, god damn it.
I thought you were gonna do a Terraria playthrough as a hillbilly.
We're doing it now. We're fucking doing it now. Shit.
Like that. It's a good role to bring into it. You know,
it really is.
I'm just mining and farming here.
And nobody even knew that I was playing a character today too.
Wait, for real?
You guys have to subscribe to my channels to find out what the actual character is. Thanks.
Find out who the real Nico Mac is. I'm Louis Hilligus IV. You can find me on social media. Follow Cinema Span on Letterboxd, Instagram, Twitter. You know the vibe. You can listen to this podcast wherever you are listening to it right now. The video edition is on YouTube as well. Thank you for listening. This has been Cinema Span.
Woo! Like and subscribe and drop a comment, please. Thank you.